The Chief Executive will deliver the policy address to the Council. Chief Executive. Mr. President, honorable members, and fellow citizens, this is my third policy address. Reform and embrace changes to achieve prosperity. The third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China CPC Central Committee adopted the resolution of the CPC Central Committee on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization. The resolution calls on Hong Kong to fully harness the institutional strengths of one country, two systems, while consolidating and enhancing its status as an international financial, shipping, and trade center. It also supports Hong Kong's position to become an international hub for high-caliber talents, to exert a greater role in our country's opening up to the world, and to deepen collaboration within the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area through better harmonization of rules and mechanisms. In running for office more than 2 years ago, I stated that we must embrace a reform mindset and we need further revamping. I propose to build a result-oriented government, setting key performance indicators, KPIs, to create a new government culture. I put forward a series of reform measures, including the establishment of care teams to enhance district services, introduction of the advanced allocation scheme to shorten the waiting time for public housing, as well as assistance to junior secondary students living in subdivided units, SDUs, for tackling intergenerational poverty. I believe that we must maintain our development momentum and self-renewal in meeting challenges and opportunities. Regarding system reforms, work on the principle that anything essential but lacking in the system must be established, any serious shortcomings must be rectified, any bottlenecks, weaknesses, or hurdles must be overcome, and any areas in need of consolidation must be reinforced and improved. In the reform process, we have to decide what should be built from scratch, what should be overhauled to set things right, and what should be consolidated and bolstered. In taking forward reforms, we must have a systemic mindset and manage the relationships between overall and local interests, between the present and the future, between macro and micro concerns. While we may make reference to the successful experiences of other places, we cannot adopt them directly given the differences in the basis and structure of our systems. Our reform proposals must take heed of the prevailing circumstances and be tailored to local conditions. Since becoming chief executive, I have carried out reforms along the above principle. On the implementation of one country, two systems, we fulfill the constitutional responsibility to enact local legislation for Article 23 of the Basic Law. We reformed the institutional setup of the district councils by implementing the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong. We enacted a new legislation to enable an essentially automatic extension of land leases in an orderly manner for a term of 50 years to beyond 2047, manifesting the long-term adherence to one country, two systems. On governance, we reformed the government structure and reshuffled the duties among policy bureaus, increasing their number from 13 to 15. We created 3 new deputy secretaries of department to strengthen coordination of work across bureaus, setting up task forces led by the deputy secretaries to enhance implementation. We cultivated a government culture focusing on results. We also introduced a mechanism mobilizing the government at all levels to respond to major incidents. On economic development, we established the Hong Kong Investment Corporation Limited, Hong Kong IC, to optimize the use of government funds for the development of industries in our economy. We pressed ahead with the development of the 8 centers and North Metropolis, taking an industry-oriented approach. We set up the Hong Kong Talent Engage Hong Kong TE and the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises, OASIS, to strengthen our efforts in trawling for talents and enterprises. We also established Hong Kong as a regional hub for higher education. As for people's livelihood, we implemented healthcare reform and took steps to build a primary review mechanism for drugs and medical devices. We set up a system for bringing in healthcare professionals to alleviate the manpower shortage in the public healthcare system. We also rationalized traffic flow among three road harbor crossings. Reform is a continuous process. Over the past 2 years, my team and I have focused on economic growth and on improving people's livelihood through development with the well-being of the people of Hong Kong close to our hearts. This policy address will deepen our reforms and explore new growth areas. Measures include building an international gold trading market, promoting high-value added maritime services, and building a commodity trading ecosystem and internationally accredited metal warehouses. We will promulgate the development outline for the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in the Loop, building a testing ground for policy and institutional innovation. We will also set up a working group on developing the low-altitude economy. In this policy address, I will continue to follow through the four proposals put forward by President Xi Jinping in his important speech delivered on the 1st of July 2022. I will also outline our vision and objectives for reforms and changes, as well as the related key measures and KPIs. A supplement offering more details on the policy measures and related matters has also been compiled. Steadfastly and successfully implement one country, two systems in strengthening our governance systems, ensuring our long-term prosperity and stability. Under the principle of one country, two systems, Hong Kong is rooted in one country and enjoys the benefits of two systems, enabling Hong Kong to serve the country's needs with its own strengths. Hong Kong boasts both national and international advantages, enjoying the benefits of policies, guarantees, and opportunities of our country. Hong Kong is an international city fully open to the world, underpinned by a capitalist system with free flow of capital, people, and information. It adopts a common law system, maintains its own legislative and judicial systems, laws, tax regime, currency and financial system, and has a separate customs territory. Hong Kong is a global metropolis. We will continue to faithfully and resolutely implement the principles of one country, two systems, Hong Kong people administering Hong Kong, and a high degree of autonomy. We will continue to fully leverage the institutional strength of one country, two systems for sustaining the prosperity and environment. In March 2024, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Hong Kong SAR, fulfilled the constitutional responsibility and historic mission of enacting local legislation for Article 23 of the Basic Law. The newly enacted Safeguarding National Security Ordinance as an SO achieves convergence, compatibility, and complementarity with the Hong Kong National Security Law. Together, they form a comprehensive legal system and enforcement mechanism for safeguarding national security. But threats to national security may spring up any time. We must stay vigilant and put up our guard. Public officers are duty-bound to safeguard national security. Section 8(3)(a) of the SNSO stipulates that if the law of the Hong Kong SAR confers any function on any person, the function is to be read as including a duty to safeguard that our people safeguard national security of their own accord. Since opening in August, the National Security Exhibition Gallery has been well received by the public. We will train up tutors at district level for promotion of national security education in the community. Thematic exhibitions will be rolled out by the gallery to dovetail with the 10th National Security Education Day next year. The Education Bureau (EDB) will also update the curriculum framework of national security education. The Working Group on Patriotic Education has formulated promotion strategies and measures for supporting the organization of more activities such that the spirit of patriotism can take root in society. Next year marks the 80th anniversary of victory in the War of Resistance. The government will host commemorative activities to strengthen the sense of patriotism. The EDB will organize a range of joint school and cross-sectoral activities under the Love Our Home, Treasure Our Country 3.0 series. Continue to enhance Chinese history and national geography education in primary and secondary schools and enrich patriotism and history elements in mainland exchange programs. Established in April, the Chinese strengthen our governance systems. Since taking office, the current Trump government has taken forward various reforms on cross-disciplinary coordination and governance culture so as to strengthen our governance systems. Apart from introducing 3 deputy secretaries of department to strengthen leadership and cross-bureau coordination, I have set indicators for specified tasks and monitored their progress and outcomes, creating a government culture focusing on actions and delivery of results. Moreover, we have updated the Civil Service Code to spell out the core values and standards of conduct the civil servants should uphold, and introduce a mechanism to mobilize the government at all levels to enhance emergency response. The government will deepen the reforms and continue to strengthen our governance systems. We will enhance leadership and cross-bureau coordination mechanisms and fully leverage leading and coordinating functions of secretaries and deputy secretaries of departments. We will establish the following education, technology, and talents. It will also expand connections, attract and cultivate talents, foster the development of technologies, and also promote Hong Kong as an international hub for high-caliber talents. 2. The Working Group on Developing Low-Altitude Economy, led by the Deputy Financial Secretary, will kickstart projects with application prospects, formulate development strategies and action plans on the low-altitude economy, as well as take forward regulatory reform and plans for related infrastructural facilities. 3. The Working Group on Developing Tourist Hotspots, led by the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, will strengthen cross-departmental coordination and leverage community efforts, identifying and developing tourist hotspots of high popularity and with strong appeal in various districts. And 4. The Working Group on Promoting Silver Economy, led by the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, will formulate measures to expedite the development of the silver industry in line with the daily needs of the elderly. Of handling the disciplinary cases, we will review the Public Service Administration Order and Public Service Disciplinary Regulation to enhance the civil service disciplinary mechanism, and will consult with the Public Service Commission on the preliminary proposals next year. National studies and international training. The civil service must have a full grasp of the policy objectives and strategies of our nation. The government will organize seminars and learning activities on the important policies, reports, and so on delivered by the Central People's Government, CPG. We will also arrange for the middle, senior, and directorate level officers to receive training at renowned institutions in the mainland and overseas to help foster the sense of national Service College will launch a governance talents development program to further develop governance capabilities of officers at leadership ranks. The college will also enhance its internal research and training capability building. The Digital Policy Office DPO will endeavor to fortify information systems of the government and public organizations. The DPO will also spearhead the pilot use of locally developed generative artificial intelligence AI document processing copilot application in government departments. About 20 digital government and smart city initiatives will also be launched this year, including using blockchain technology for issuing electronic certificates for designated civil service examinations and electronic licensing by the Fire Services Department, as well as the use of AI for handling public inquiries. The government will require critical infrastructure operators to undertake obligations to protect the computer system so as to reinforce their resilience against cybersecurity challenges. A bill will be introduced later this year.
Consolidate and enhance our status as an international financial, shipping, and trade center. The development of international financial, shipping, and trading centers are closely intertwined. Besides expanding and strengthening our existing businesses, we will also explore new growth areas, specifically by creating a commodity trading ecosystem to attract relevant enterprises to establish presence in Hong Kong, turning our city into an operation center for international commodity trading, storage and delivery, shipping and logistics, risk management, and more. This will help develop the markets in international gold, non-ferrous metal, green transportation, and others, further promoting the integrated development of Hong Kong as an international financial, shipping, and trade center. Hong Kong ranks among the world's largest import and export markets for gold by volume. The current complexity in geopolitics underscores our city's edge in security and stability, and hence an attractive location for investors for gold storage, spurring relevant activities such as gold trading, settlement, and delivery. We will capitalize on our strengths as an international financial center to build Hong Kong into an international gold trading center. The government will facilitate an international commodity exchange to set up accredited warehouses in Hong Kong. We will also introduce measures such as a preferential tax regime to attract enterprises to expand their businesses in Hong Kong and to increase storage and trade volume of commodities. Green shipping and aviation is a global trend. The government will nurture industrial development of sustainable aviation fuel and green maritime fuel and establish a fuel bunkering center, leveraging the development opportunities in finance, trading, and maritime sectors stemming from new energy. International Financial Center. Hong Kong is an international financial center, ranking third globally and first in investment environment. The government will continue improving our infrastructure and upgrading the central money markets unit to facilitate the settlement of various assets in different currencies by international investors. We will also develop the fixed income markets infrastructure by, for instance, setting up a central clearing system for RMB denominated bond repurchase or repo transactions, making RMB sovereign bonds issued in Hong Kong a more popular choice of collateral in offshore markets. We will look to enhance the cross-boundary wealth management connect scheme as well. We will also strive to bolster offshore RMB liquidity and make good use of the currency swap agreements between the Hong Kong SAR and our country, enabling the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, or HKMA, to better support Hong Kong's economic and trade development, expand the nighttime cross-boundary service capability of Hong Kong's RMB real-time gross settlement system to facilitate global settlements in offshore RMB markets and explore the provision of more diversified channels for obtaining offshore RMB financing. We will provide more RMB-denominated investment products. 1. The HKEX to encourage more listed companies to have shares listed in the RMB stock trading counter and expand the scope of RMB equities. 2. To increase issuance of RMB bonds and support issuance of more green and sustainable offshore RMB bonds in Hong Kong. 3. To seek support from the Ministry of Finance for boosting the size and frequency of issuing RMB sovereign bonds and launching offshore RMB sovereign bonds futures as soon as possible in Hong Kong. And 4. To actively liaise with the mainland authorities to expand the southbound trading bond connect as appropriate, including expanding the scope of eligible mainland investors to non-bank financial institutions such as securities firms and insurance companies, and enriching liquidity management tools that facilitates offshore investors' investment in onshore bonds by actively exploring and introducing, at appropriate juncture, various bond repo and collateral products and arrangements using onshore RMB bonds. Further enhance our status as an international risk management center. Hong Kong has the highest concentration of insurance companies and the highest insurance density in Asia. To further strengthen Hong Kong's position as a global risk management center, the Insurance Authority will initiate a review next year. We will examine capital requirements for infrastructure investments to enriching insurance companies' asset allocation for risk diversification and driving investment in infrastructure, such as the Northern Metropolis. We will also continue to invite mainland and overseas enterprises, including large state-owned enterprises in the mainland, to establish captive insurers in Hong Kong. Further enhance our status as an international asset and wealth management center. There are 2,700 single-family offices in Hong Kong, and the industry has predicted that Hong Kong will become the world's largest cross-boundary wealth management center by 2028. We will make every effort to attract more global capital to be managed in Hong Kong, including facilitating the opening of new distribution channels for private equity funds through Hong Kong EX listing, and 1. Collaborating with sovereign wealth funds in regions along the Belt and Road. We will strive to collaborate with large-scale sovereign wealth funds in regions such as the Middle East in financing the setting up of funds to invest in assets in the mainland and other regions. 2. Effective today, investments in residential properties is allowed, provided that the transaction price of the residential property concerned is no less than $50 million, with the amount of real estate investments to be counted towards the total capital investment capped at $10 million. In addition, investments made through an eligible private company wholly owned by an applicant will be counted towards the applicant's eligible investment with effect from the 1st of March 2025. And 3. Expanding the scope of tax concessions. The government will consult the industry on the proposal to add qualifying transactions eligible for tax concessions for funds and single-family offices. Proactively expand markets and deepen overseas networks. We will continue to actively expand and deepen our overseas networks, including forging financial cooperation with the Middle East and the region of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, organizing more international financial mega events and exploring further collaboration with Islamic markets in the area of finance. Further enhance the securities markets. Relevant measures include 1. Exchange-traded funds ETF tracking Hong Kong stock indices will be launched in the Middle East, seeking to attract the allocation of capital in the markets to Hong Kong stocks. 2. We will leverage the advantages brought about by our mutual access with the mainland's financial markets to attract international enterprises to list in Hong Kong. We will also encourage large-scale mainland enterprises to list here, particularly aiming to have more prominent initial public offerings in the near term. 3. The Securities and Futures Commission, or the SFC, and the HKEX will announce specific measures for further optimizing relevant procedures to provide greater certainty regarding the time required for vetting of listing applications. And 4. Boosting market efficiency. The SFC and the HKEX will boost market efficiency and lower transaction costs, including reviewing the arrangements for deposits of margin and refining the requirements on placement of margin and collateral. Provide convenient cross-boundary financial services arrangements. To promote financial inclusion, we will facilitate members of the public in making cross-boundary transactions and payments. The HKMA and the People's Bank of China are pushing forward the linkage of fast payment systems in the two places, that is, the FPS in Hong Kong and the Internet Banking Payment System, or IPPS, in the mainland, to facilitate real-time, cross-boundary small value payments by residents on both sides, and they will implement the arrangements enabling issuance of bank cards by mainland branches of Hong Kong incorporated banks in the mainland. Build an international gold trading market. Hong Kong ranks among the world's largest import and export markets for gold by volume. Amidst the increasingly complicated geopolitics, our city's security and stability gives us a clear edge as an attractive place for physical gold storage, driving more gold trading, settlements and delivery activities, and potentially propelling Hong Kong into a gold trading center. This will spur developments of the related industry chain, ranging from investment transactions, derivatives, insurance, storage, to trading and logistics services. We will promote the development of world-class gold storage facilities, facilitating the storage and delivery of spot gold by users and investors in Hong Kong, and driving demand for related services such as collateral and loan businesses, opening up new growth areas of the financial sector. The FSTB will set up a working group to take forward the establishment of an international gold trading center. This will include, among other things, strengthening the trading mechanism and regulatory framework, promoting application of cutting-edge financial technology, and actively exploring with the mainland authorities on the inclusion of gold-related products in the Mutual Market Access Program. Hong Kong is the leading sustainable finance hub in Asia. The International Carbon Market, or Core Climate, launched by the HKEX, is the world's only carbon market to offer Hong Kong dollar and RMB settlements for trading of international voluntary carbon credits. The HKMA will roll out the Sustainable Finance Action Agenda. In addition, the FSTB will launch a roadmap on the full adoption of the International Financial Reporting Standards, Sustainability Disclosure Standards, or the ISSB standards this year, leading Hong Kong to be among the first jurisdictions to align its local requirements with ISSB standards. International Shipping Center. Hong Kong is one of the world's busiest and most efficient ports and ranks fourth in the International Shipping Center Development Index, or ISCDI. The average length of stay of container vessels in the Hong Kong ports is 0.95 days, about half the average of 1.85 days for the world's top 20 container ports, earning our city the reputation as a catch-up port for vessels to make up for delays in other ports. The shipping business is composed of the port sector and maritime services, in which maritime services, including professional services such as ship broking, financing and leasing, maritime insurance, maritime law, and arbitration, are the high value-added segments of shipping business and the source of growth, having grown by nearly 40% over the past 3 years. That is from 2019 to 2022 in terms of economic contribution. We will step up our efforts in fostering Hong Kong's maritime industry while taking a multi-pronged approach to consolidate our status as an international shipping center. The existing Hong Kong Maritime and Ports Board will be reconstituted into the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board, a high-level advisory body to assist the government in formulating policies and long-term development strategies. To be chaired by a non-official member, with other members largely from the maritime sector, the new body will be underpinned by dedicated staff to undertake research and publicity work. Additional funding will be provided to enhance its research capabilities, strengthen its mainland and overseas promotional work, and step up manpower training, supporting the government in policy implementation more effectively and promoting the sustainable development of Hong Kong's maritime industry. We will strive to promote the development of high value-added maritime and professional services. Indeed, the government has been encouraging more shipping commercial principals and maritime service enterprises to establish presence in Hong Kong by providing tax exemptions for ship leasing business and offering half-rate tax concessions for marine insurance, ship management, ship agency, and ship broking. We will continue to boost Hong Kong's maritime strengths. Relevant measures include 1. Enhancing and promoting tax concessions. To strengthen the local maritime ecosystem, we will step up promotion of existing tax concessionary measures for maritime services and enhance the preferential tax regime, including introducing new tax deduction arrangements for ship lessors pursuant to international tax rules. 2. We will encourage leading or high-potential marine insurance business operators to establish presence in our city to broaden the range of marine insurance products. And 3. We will strengthen collaboration with international marine insurance organizations to promote the training of marine insurance talents and expand the scope of the Maritime and Aviation Training Fund to cover more green energy courses, marine insurance examinations, and others. We will develop Hong Kong into a green maritime center through 1. Promoting the green transformation of registered ships. The Marine Department earlier this year began offering cash incentives to ships meeting relevant international standards on decarbonization, and it will step up promotion of this initiative. 2. Developing a green maritime fuel bunkering center. We will promulgate the action plan on green maritime fuel bunkering by the end of this year. We will take forward the related infrastructural developments, such as green maritime fuel bunker terminals, promote port emissions reduction, offer incentives to encourage green maritime fuel usage, cooperate with ports in the GBA, and construct a green shipping corridor with major trading partners. And 3, we will provide green ships with smart information concerning navigational safety and enhance the ship monitoring system to ensure safety during fuel bunkering. Create a commodity trading ecosystem. Commodities, including metals and minerals, account for more than half of the global shipping trade volume. Ship owners and commodity traders are the key users of shipping routes and maritime services. The presence and operation in Hong Kong can drive the maritime services industry and boost demand for related financial and professional services, such as hedging activities of related futures products, conducive to consolidating and enhancing Hong Kong's status as an international financial shipping and trade center. We will explore the introduction of tax concessions and support measures to attract relevant enterprises in the mainland and overseas to set up businesses in Hong Kong, building a commodity trading ecosystem in our city. There has been an international commodity exchange expressing its intention to establish accredited warehouses in Hong Kong for storage and delivery of commodities, including non-ferrous metal products. We will capitalize on this opportunity to establish relevant supporting facilities so as to attract mainland enterprises to engage in commodity trade, especially of non-ferrous metal, in Hong Kong, further expanding the demand for our maritime and trade services. We will complete installation of a port community system next year. It will be equipped with functions such as shipments tracking, real-time transport information, electronic information and document retrieval, and port data analysis, enabling the flow and sharing of data among stakeholders in the maritime, port, and logistics industries. The government will also organize more major events with the international maritime organizations and enterprises to showcase to the world Hong Kong's maritime strengths. Expand high-value-added logistics services. We are taking forward the action plan on modern logistics development and will release 4 quality logistics sites for industry to develop modern, high-end, multi-story logistics facilities. The findings of the planning study on the development of modern logistics clusters in the Hung Shui Kiu Ha Chun New Development Area, or NDA, will be published next year. We will continue to strengthen cooperation in the logistics sector with the western part of Guangdong and other neighboring areas, making good use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge to expand the catchment area of our cargo services and facilitate more goods to go through Hong Kong.
International Trade Center. The global trade landscape is undergoing constant changes, with parts of the supply chains shifting to the global south and Belt and Road countries, while many mainland enterprises are also actively establishing their presence abroad. Hong Kong topped the global rankings in international trade and business legislation according to the World Competitiveness Yearbook 2024. We have been a prime destination for mainland and overseas enterprises setting up international headquarters to manage offshore trading and supply chain businesses. Build a high-value added supply chain service center. Hong Kong is home to a deep pool of talents and extensive networks in offshore trading and supply chain management, including production chain management, export credit risk management, trade financing, marketing, testing and certification, accounting, and other professional services. We will strengthen the provision of high-value added supply chain services by 1. Establishing a high-value added supply chain services mechanism. The Invest Hong Kong and the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, Hong Kong TDC, will set up a mechanism and enhance the interface for attracting mainland enterprises to establish international or regional headquarters in Hong Kong, providing one-stop diversified professional advisory services for enterprises in Hong Kong looking to go global. 2. Providing greater export protection for enterprises. The statutory maximum indemnity percentage of the Hong Kong Export Credit Insurance Corporation, ECIC, will be increased from 90% to 95%. The ECIC will also provide more free buyer credit checks with extended geographical coverage and enhanced financing support for e-commerce businesses. 3. Providing robust export credit services. We will encourage the China Export and Credit Insurance Corporation to explore setting up businesses in Hong Kong, providing export credit insurance services covering overseas investment with prolonged investment period, offering mainland enterprises in Hong Kong venturing overseas markets, and foreign-funded companies doing businesses in mainland market with more comprehensive export credit services. 4. Promoting electronic trade financing. The Hong Kong MA is experimenting with tokenized electronic bills of lading through its Project Ensemble Sandbox. The goal is to lower fraud risks through the better use of technology and to facilitate the provision of trade financing by financial institutions. The Hong Kong MA will work with other jurisdictions on a pilot basis to develop mechanisms for trade information transmission, promoting cross-boundary data transfers, and the digitalization of international trade. It will also allow potential stablecoin issuers to test blockchain use cases, including solutions for cross-boundary payments through the stablecoin issuer sandbox. And 5, enhancing financial services with data. The Hong Kong MA expects to connect its commercial data interchange CDI with the system of the land registry next year to facilitate enhancement of banking services through the better use of data. Expand our global economic and trade networks. In addition to developing our European and American markets, we will continue to expand our economic and trade networks, especially with Belt and Road countries. Relevant measures include 1. Further opening up of trade in services with the mainland. Under the second agreement concerning amendment to the Mainland and Hong Kong Closer Economic Partnership Arrangement (CEPA) Agreement on Trade and Services Amendment Agreement 2, signed recently, further liberalization measures have been introduced across several services sectors. These include the construction, testing and certification, financial services, film and television sectors. In particular, the period requirement of substantive business operations in Hong Kong for 3 years has been removed in most services sectors. This will attract more Hong Kong startups, overseas enterprises, and talents from around the world to establish their presence in Hong Kong to tap the mainland market. We will implement the amendment agreement to step up promotion and provide assistance to enterprises as needed. 2. Reinforcing the interface of trade mechanisms. We will continue to seek early accession to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership (RCEP). We're also in investment agreement negotiations with Bangladesh and Saudi Arabia, and plan to begin negotiations with Egypt and Peru. Our FTA negotiations with Peru have been concluded, and we expect to sign the FTA this year. We will also expand the global network of our Economic and Trade Offices (ETO), focusing on establishing economic and trade ties with emerging markets. And 3, further exploring priority markets. We will continue to pay visits and lead businesses and professional services delegations to priority markets such as Belt and Road countries. We will also organize the BNR Cross-Professional Forum to promote Hong Kong's professional services, promote development of a headquarters economy. The government will step up efforts to bring in strategic enterprises from outside the city to set up headquarters or corporate divisions in Hong Kong. The FSTB will submit a bill this year to introduce a company redomiciliation mechanism, obviating the need for companies intending to redomicile in Hong Kong to be wound up in its regional domicile overseas and establish a new company in Hong Kong. The companies will be able to preserve their legal identity and business continuity, saving costs as a result of the simplified procedures. The validity period of multiple entry visas for foreign staff of companies registered in Hong Kong, including non-permanent residents, will be extended to a maximum of 5 years to facilitate their visit to the mainland, and their applications will enjoy priority processing. We will strengthen the range of financial services available for mainland enterprises in Hong Kong wishing to expand overseas, encouraging mainland financial enterprises to coordinate and manage their overseas business in Hong Kong, and facilitating their internationalization. The Hong Kong MA is exploring ways to enable mainland enterprises looking to go global to enjoy facilitation of cross-boundary RMB settlement and financing through enhanced offshore RMB liquidity, utilizing technology and promoting international collaboration. Foster trading of liquor. At present, Hong Kong imposes a duty of 100% on the import rights of liquor with alcoholic strength of more than 30%. to promote liquor trade and boost the development of high-value-added industries, including logistics and storage, tourism, as well as high-end food and beverage consumption. The government has made reference to the successful experience of driving the wine trade through exemption of wine duty and will, starting today, reduce the duty rate for liquor with an import price of over 200 from 100% to 10% for the portion above $200, while the duty rate for the portion of $200 and below, as well as liquor with an import price of $200 or below, will remain unchanged. International Aviation Hub. As an international aviation hub, Hong Kong is connected to nearly 200 destinations worldwide. Our city has topped the global ranking for air cargo throughput for more than a decade. The Airport Authority Hong Kong (AAHK) will complete the 3 one-way systems by the end of this year. From 2035, the Hong Kong International Airport Hong Kong IA's capacity will increase by 50%. Enhance aviation development strategies. The government will step up efforts in expanding our aviation network by supporting the Hong Kong IA to explore new destinations and flights, particularly enhancing cooperation with civil aviation counterparts from BNR countries. In parallel, we will combine the strength of our airport and Zhuhai Airport to improve the fly via Zhuhai Hong Kong direct passenger service and jointly develop international air cargo business for greater synergy. Develop a world-leading airport city. The government will plan with the AHK for expanding the scale of the airport city by more than double, building a new world-leading landmark in the Bay Area among the airport island, the Hong Kong Port Island of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, and Dong Chung East New Town. New projects will be developed to promote high-end commercial, tourist, and leisure activities. These include creating an ecosystem for the arts industry, building the Asia World Expo Phase 2, developing a yacht bay with ancillary facilities, opening a food market for imported fresh food, and providing more public spaces. Expand cargo capacity through the GBA and enhance advantages of the air cargo industry. The AAHK is pressing ahead at full steam with the innovative development of a sea-air intermodal cargo transshipment mode in collaboration with Dongguan. The initial stage of first phase construction for the permanent logistics park in Dongguan, the Hong Kong IA Dongguan Logistics Park, will be completed by the end of next year, and the cargo handling capacity will progressively reach 1 million tons per annum. Advanced planning will be made to commence the second phase development, introducing more high-value added logistics, cross-boundary e-commerce, and courier service facilities. The government will extend arrangements under the Air Transshipment Cargo Exemption Scheme to other intermodal cargo transshipment modes to boost competitiveness. Commence training for international legal talents. The Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy will be officially launched this year, cultivating legal talents to be familiar with international law, common law, civil law, national legal systems, and other legal aspects. The dedicated office and expert committee under the Department of Justice are pressing ahead with the related work. The International Organization for Mediation will have its headquarters set up in Hong Kong. Upon adoption and entry into force of the relevant international convention, the government will enhance the system on local accreditation and disciplinary matters of the mediation profession to further strengthen our role as an international mediation center. We will incorporate mediation clauses in government contracts and encourage private organizations to make reference to and adopt such clauses. We will also launch a pilot scheme on community mediation to offer more training opportunities for promoting mediation culture. With the development of sports activities in industry, sport disputes have become increasingly complicated. We will explore establishing a sports dispute resolution system and promote sports arbitration, leveraging the institutional advantages of Hong Kong in dispute resolution.
Develop new quality productive forces tailored to local conditions. The core elements of new quality productive forces is to achieve high-quality economic development through technological empowerment. Hong Kong is striving to become an international innovation and technology center by promoting the upgrading and transformation of traditional industries while actively nurturing emerging ones. We will spare no efforts in developing new quality productive forces tailored to local conditions. International R&T Center. We will draw up a medium to long-term development plan for new industrialization in Hong Kong. We will also press ahead with the establishment of the Hong Kong New Industrialization Development Alliance to promote closer collaboration among the government and the industry, academia, research and investment sectors, building a cooperative platform for new industrialization in Hong Kong. This includes providing more financing opportunities and fostering R&D cooperation between newly listed companies in Hong Kong and local universities. The Inno-Hong Kong research clusters have become home to about 2,500 R&D personnel from Hong Kong and around the world. The government has already started preparatory work to establish the third Inno-Hong Kong research cluster, which will focus on advanced manufacturing, materials, energy, and sustainable development. The target is to attract world-class R&D teams to collaborate with local institutions, promoting R&D and bringing in talents. The government will launch a new round of research matching grant scheme totaling $1.5 billion to attract more organizations to support research endeavors of institutions. We will increase investment and guide more market capital to invest in I&T industries, reflecting a revamped approach of government in this. Relevant measures include 1. Setting up a $10 billion I&T industry-oriented fund. We will set up a fund of funds to channel more market capital to invest in specified emerging and future industries of strategic importance, including life and health technology, AI and robotics, semiconductors and smart devices, advanced materials, and new energy. The goal is to systematically build an I&T ecosystem. 2. Optimizing the I&T venture fund. We will redeploy $1.5 billion to set up funds jointly with the market on a matching basis, investing in startups of strategic industries to further enhance Hong Kong's startup ecosystem. And 3, maximizing the impact of the HKIC as patient capital. The HKIC will continue to attract I&T enterprises to establish their presence and settle in Hong Kong by channeling and leveraging market capital. The government will launch the I&T Accelerator pilot scheme with a funding allocation of $180 million at a 1:2 matching ratio between the government and the institution, up to a subsidy ceiling of $30 million. The scheme aims to attract professional startup service providers with proven track records in and beyond Hong Kong to set up accelerator bases in Hong Kong, fostering the robust growth of startups. Develop the low-altitude economy. Low-altitude economy, which refers to economic activities in airspace below 1,000 meters, presents a wide array of application scenarios, including rescues, surveys, and delivery of goods and passengers. Formulating a management system for low-altitude economy will help drive development in areas such as telecommunication technologies, AI, and the digital industry, unlocking the low-altitude airspace as a new production factor for our economy. The government will establish the working group on developing low-altitude economy. Led by the Deputy Financial Secretary, it will formulate development strategies and interdepartmental action plans, starting with projects on low-altitude applications. It will designate specific venues for such purposes, draw up regulations, and design the institutional setup, and study and map out plans to develop the required infrastructure and networks. Relevant measures include pressing ahead with pilot projects and designate venues to explore deploying drones for delivery, service, building maintenance, aerial photography, performances, search and rescue, and other possibilities. 2, relaxing restrictions on beyond line of sight flying activities, as well as those on weight and loading of drones, encouraging markets, research and investment, facilitating technology tests and developing aerial tools. 3, explore with the mainland authorities the joint establishment of low-altitude cross-boundary air routes, immigration and customs clearance arrangements, and supporting infrastructure. And 4, in the long run, we need a highly effective, intelligent, and digitalized low-altitude infrastructure system for the real-time management on networks of low-altitude activities. It will strategize solutions for complex management and safety issues arising from such activities. The working group will embark on technical studies and planning of support facilities for low-altitude activities, such as vertiports and charging stations, communications network, air route network, management of low-altitude flying activities, and so on, to lay the foundation for the low-altitude economy. Promote development of communications technology. Low Earth orbit or LEO satellites are less costly than traditional ones. The government will conduct a study on streamlining the vetting procedures of license applications for operating LEO satellites. We will also make available more suitable radio spectrum to the market in a timely manner. Advance R&D of aerospace science and technology. Hong Kong's research teams have been actively engaged in R&D of aerospace science and technology. This year, a Hong Kong resident was selected as a preparatory astronaut. We are very grateful for our country's support for Hong Kong in developing aerospace-related technologies. The government will set up a research center under the Inno-Hong Kong Research Cluster to participate in the Chang'e 8 mission, contributing to national aerospace development. Promote development of new energy. The government will earmark around $750 million under the New Energy Transport Fund to subsidize the taxi trade and franchised bus companies to purchase electric vehicles, and launch the subsidy scheme for trials of hydrogen fuel cell electric heavy vehicles. We will further promote the development of new energy by 1. Setting a target for sustainable aviation fuel or SAF consumption. We will speed up the reduction of carbon emissions by the aviation industry and cater to the increasing demand of international airlines for SAF. 2. Developing SAF and green maritime fuel supply chains. We will formulate the long-term plan for industry development in respect of fuel supply and demand, storage and bunkering. And 3. Promoting green and low-carbon hydrogen energy. We will actively support the industry to establish a solar-to-hydrogen facility for demonstration, introduce a bill next year to ensure the safe use of hydrogen fuel, and formulate the approach of hydrogen standard certification suitable to Hong Kong. Regional Intellectual Property Trading Center. Hong Kong's IP-intensive industries accounted for about 30% of our gross domestic products and of total employment, respectively. We will strengthen our position as a regional IP trading center by expanding the IP trading ecosystem of the I&T sector and creative industries. The government will strengthen protection for the products of innovation and creativity yielded by R&D efforts. Measures include putting forward a proposal next year to enhance the copyright ordinance regarding the protection for AI technology development, launching a consultation in 2025 on the registered designs regime currently under review, and proposing legislative amendments to streamline IP litigation processes for the High Court to manage and hear these cases more effectively. Next year, the Trademarks Registry under the Intellectual Property Department, or IPD, will launch a new AI-assisted image search service to facilitate the public search of the trademark database. With the central government support, Hong Kong will participate in the World Intellectual Property Organization Lex Judgments database next year, sharing important IP case precedents of local courts to showcase to the international community the quality of our IP-related judicial judgments. We will continue to discuss with the patent agent sector and stakeholders to plan for the introduction of regulatory arrangements for local patent agent services, covering qualification, registration, and other areas, aiming to nurture professional talents and enhance service quality. The IPD will collaborate with the Qualifications Framework Secretariat to develop practical teaching materials for deployment by training providers, benefiting personnel across 23 different industries. International Health and Medical Innovation Hub. To expedite patients' access to advanced diagnostic and treatment services and to foster new quality productive forces in biomedical technology, the government will complement technological innovation with institutional innovation, developing Hong Kong into an international health and medical innovation hub. Reform the approval mechanism for drugs and medical devices. We will expedite the reform of the approval mechanism for drugs and medical devices, including 1. Extending the 1+ mechanism to all new drugs, including vaccines and advanced therapy products, and improving the approval mechanism to speed up registration, facilitating good drugs for use in Hong Kong. 2. Devising the timetable for the Hong Kong Centre for Medical Products Regulation and the roadmap towards adoption of primary evaluation, as well as formulating strategies and measures to facilitate R&D of drugs and medical devices. And 3. Taking forward preparatory work for legislating for the statutory regulation of medical devices. The government will enhance Hong Kong's clinical trial capability on all fronts and facilitate the translation of innovative biomedical research results into clinical applications by 1. Joining hands with Shenzhen to establish the GBA Clinical Trial Collaboration Platform, extending the R&D network and expediting clinical trials. 2. Establishing the Real-World Study and Application Center to open up local health and medical databases and promote cooperation between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, to integrate data generated from the special measure of using Hong Kong registered drugs and medical devices used in Hong Kong public hospitals in GBA, and accelerate approval for registration of new drugs in Hong Kong, and supporting R&D, clinical trials, and application of advanced biomedical technology in Hong Kong, attracting global top-notch innovative enterprises and research organizations to set up operations in Hong Kong. A robust system to promote integration of real economy and digital economy is one of the key drivers of new quality productive forces. We will expedite the development of digital economy, which includes accelerating the digital transformation of industries, strengthening digital infrastructure, exploring development of a data trading ecosystem, and exploring on a pilot basis facilitation arrangements for cross-boundary data flow within the GBA. We will push forward reforms in the digitalization of enterprises and trade. Measures include fostering participation in discussions among the international community about the development of digital economy and exploring the inclusion of relevant provisions in bilateral trade agreements during the negotiation process, with a view to promoting digital trade and cross-boundary e-commerce. The Commerce and Economic Development Bureau is developing the Trade Single Window to provide a one-stop electronic platform. It will help the industry lodge import and export trade documents for trade declaration and customs clearance. The HKMA has established a working group to conduct an in-depth study into the changes in future supply chains and make recommendations. The scope of study covers promoting the digitalization of trade through areas such as talents and financial infrastructure, as well as the technology and legal framework, with the goal to lower trade costs and upgrade the trade ecosystem. We will continue to promote the development of innovative financial services, including central bank digital currencies or CBDCs, mobile payments, virtual banks, virtual insurance, and virtual asset transactions. The FSTB will shortly issue a policy statement setting out its policy stance regarding the application of AI in the financial markets. Other measures include 1. Promoting the use of CBDCs for cross-boundary payments. The HKMA is actively testing and exploring more add-on technology solutions and use cases related to cross-boundary trade settlements on the mBridge platform and will further widen the participation of both the public and private sectors. 2. Enhancing the regulation of VA trading. The FSTB will complete the second round public consultation on the regulatory proposals for over-the-counter trading of VA and puts forward a proposed licensing regime for VA custodian service providers. 3. Promoting real-world asset tokenization and developing a digital money ecosystem. The HKMA is taking forward Project Ensemble, a financial market infrastructure project to explore the application of real-world asset tokenization and the use of digital money for interbank settlement, facilitating the development of the relevant assets trading. Separately, the Hong Kong MA also allows potential stablecoin issuers to test business plans and use cases through the stablecoin issuer sandbox, and will work with the FSTB to introduce a bill on the regulation of fiat-referenced stablecoin issuers later this year. And 4. Promoting the development of the digital securities markets. The HKMA will soon launch the Digital Bond Grant Scheme to encourage more financial institutions and issuers to adopt tokenization technology in capital market transactions. Facilitate cross-boundary e-commerce logistics services. To develop Hong Kong into a cross-boundary e-commerce logistics and distribution center, the government will review existing procedures to enhance the efficiency of cross-boundary goods distribution, strengthening the competitiveness of our city. Promote smart construction and management of public rental housing estates. The Hong Kong Housing Authority, or the HA, has selected 10 PRH estates as pilot sites for smart estate management. Next year, it will establish a central platform for property management and introduce digital technologies in daily estate management work, enhancing management's effectiveness and service quality. The HKHA will also progressively apply the project's information management and analytics platform in new public housing projects starting next year, enhancing work's efficiency by project management digitalization and adopting three-dimensional digital maps and virtual digital models, etc. The DOJ will set up the advisory group on promoting the development of law tech to formulate policies and measures on law tech and promote its application in relevant sectors.
國際
Build Hong Kong into an international hub for high-caliber talents. Coordinate and promote integrated development of education, technology, and talents. Education nurtures our future. Technology denotes our strength, and talents lead our development. The government will set up the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talents. Led by the Chief Secretary for Administration, the committee will coordinate and drive the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, expand connections, formulate policies to attract and cultivate talents, foster the development of technologies, and also promote Hong Kong as an international hub for high-caliber talents. Attract talents. Hong Kong boasts 5 of the world's top 100 universities and is an international hub for exchange and collaboration among high-caliber talents. The government implemented a new talent admission regime in late 2022. More than 380,000 applications have been received to date, and around 160,000 talents have arrived in Hong Kong with their families. In the next 5 years, there will be a projected shortage of around 180,000 workers across different sectors. To build a quality talent pool for development, we will reform various aspects of the talent admission regime, including 1. Updating the talent list to include talents required for development of the 8 centers. 2. Expanding the list of universities under the Top Talent Pass scheme to 198 universities by adding 13 top mainland and overseas universities and extending the validity period of the first visa of high-income talents under the scheme from 2 years to 3 years. 3. Enhancing the general employment policy and the admission scheme for mainland talents and professionals, providing new channels to attract experienced specialists in specific skill trades facing acute manpower shortage to come to Hong Kong. There will be a quota under the new arrangement. 4. Introducing a new mechanism under the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, proactively inviting top-notch talents to come to our city for development, promoting Hong Kong as the focal point of international high-caliber talents, and 5. Extending for 2 years the pilot arrangement of including graduates from the GBA campuses of Hong Kong universities under the immigration arrangements for non-local graduates. Assist talents in pursuing development in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong TE will step up promotion of its online platforms to offer comprehensive information on salaries, taxation, education, visas, and so on, in addition to providing personalized assistance. The Hong Kong TE will expand its network of collaborative partners and organize online and in-person job fairs with industries and employer organizations so that employers can directly match jobs with talents. It will also organize another international talent forum and conduct overseas promotion. Promote development of an international hub for post-secondary education. Nurture future talents and establish the Study in Hong Kong brand. The government is committed to developing Hong Kong into an international hub for post-secondary education. Relevant measures include 1. Incentivizing more local students to pursue advanced studies. We will set up the Hong Kong Future Talents Scholarship Scheme for advanced studies beginning in the 2025-26 academic year, offering scholarships each year to up to 1,200 local students enrolling in designated postgraduate programs. 2. Creating the Study in Hong Kong brand. We will strive to host international education conferences and exhibitions. We will also encourage local post-secondary institutions to enhance collaboration and exchange with their counterparts around the world in promoting the Study in Hong Kong brand on a global scale and to attract more overseas students, especially those from ASEAN and other Belt and Road countries, to study in our city through the provision of scholarships and other incentives. And 3. Improving hostel facilities. We will launch a pilot scheme to streamline the processing of application in relation to planning, lands, and building plans so as to encourage the market to convert hotels and other commercial buildings into student hostels on a self-financing and privately funded basis, increasing the supply of student hostels. The government will also make available suitable sites for the private sector to build new hostels, having regard to market demand. The Development Projects Facilitation Office under the Development Bureau will provide one-stop advisory and facilitation services for these projects. We will introduce a bill next year to amend the Post-Secondary Colleges Ordinance to improve the regulatory and quality assurance mechanisms of self-financing post-secondary institutions. Develop the Northern Metropolis University Town. The government has earmarked over 80 hectares of land in the Northern Metropolis for the Northern Metropolis University Town and will encourage local post-secondary institutions to introduce more branded programs, research collaboration, and exchange projects with renowned mainland and overseas institutions in a flexible and innovative manner. We will retain flexibility in the planning process to facilitate development of student hostels. We plan to publish the Northern Metropolis University Town Development Conceptual Framework in the first half of 2026. Nurture talents. Advance the development of Universities of Applied Sciences, UAS. The Hong Kong Metropolitan University has been recognized as the first UAS in Hong Kong. The UAS Alliance will be established this year to, among other things, embark on joint promotion and strengthen collaboration with UAS around the world. The government has allocated a starter fund of $100 million for the alliance. The government will build a campus for the newly established Hong Kong Institute of Information Technology under the Vocational Training Council, VTC, and develop its lift and escalator technology center. The EDB will establish the Steering Committee on Strategic Development of Digital Education to promote digital education, renew the junior secondary science curriculum, and provide support for teachers in using AI in teaching. The government will allocate $2 billion to set up the Teacher Professional Development Fund to support the long-term development of the teaching profession and to enhance the training and exchange programs for teachers. A provision of about $470 million will be allocated to enhance the learning and teaching of English, Putonghua, and other languages. We will also strengthen support for students with special educational needs and continue to provide subsidies such as textbooks assistance for students with financial needs. Expedite youth hostel projects. In response to our young people's aspirations to have their own living space, the government launched the youth hostel scheme, expanded it 2 years ago by subsidizing non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and to rent suitable hotels and guest houses for use as youth hostels. We have also set up a task force to offer targeted support and technical advice, including providing relevant NGOs with assistance in negotiating with hotel owners to expedite arrangements. The number of hostel places has now increased to about 3,000. Support young people to purchase subsidized sale flats. The Hong Kong Housing Authority will allocate an extra ballot number to young family applicants and one-person applicants aged below 40 with white form status for the purchase of Home Ownership Scheme HOS flats from the next HOS sale exercise onwards. Starting from the next white form secondary market scheme WSM exercise, the WSM quota will increase by 1,500, all of which will be allocated to young family applicants and one-person applicants aged below 40. Strengthen support for youth development. We will create, among other things, the Youth Post Hostel and spaces for cultural and arts exchanges for youth in the Kai Tak Community Isolation Facility. We will also set up a physical platform for interaction in the Nam Chung District Community Center for Youth Link members. Communication with young people will be augmented through various means, including leveraging the new mobile application Hong Kong Youth Plus and other online media. To strengthen support for unleashing the potential of young people, the government will establish a new interactive space and set up a video studio at the Youth Square. We will also launch a new round of the funding scheme for youth life planning activities to sponsor NGOs in providing enhanced services and strengthening national affairs content. The Hong Kong Jockey Club will contribute $300 million to support these initiatives. We will continue to promote the mainland and overseas exchange and internship program and enhance the GBA Youth Employment Scheme by relaxing eligibility requirements to allow young people aged 29 or below with some degree or higher qualifications to join the scheme, increasing the limit of monthly allowance granted to enterprises to $12,000 and exploring reciprocal arrangements. The Youth Employment and Training Program will be refined and its Chinese title renamed, with the upper age limit for participants raised to 29. Additional workplace attachment opportunities will be provided in the GBA under the program.
Promote integrated development of culture, sports, and tourism, and foster economic diversification. The current term government set up the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau, or CSTB, to consolidate the integrated development of culture, the creative industry, sports, and tourism. To enhance Hong Kong's role as the East meets West Center for international cultural exchange, the government strives to deepen the institutional reform of a cultural system, improve the cultural and economic policies, and further enhance our cultural confidence. The CSTB consulted the arts and cultural community last year on the formulation of the blueprints for arts and culture and creative industries development. The blueprints will cover 4 major development directions: promoting the development of diverse arts and culture with an international perspective, promoting Chinese culture, fostering arts and cultural exchange between China and the rest of the world, and driving industry developments. The CSTB will consult the Culture Commission shortly and promulgate the blueprints later this year. Established in June, the Cultural and Creative Industries Development Agency adopts an industry-oriented approach to promote the development of the cultural and creative industries. Relevant measures include 1. Incubating more cultural and creative projects with potential for industrialization through the Create Smart initiative and strengthening cross-sectoral collaboration and leveraging market resources, facilitating the industries to explore business opportunities. 2. Facilitating more registration of local and non-local cultural and creative products on the Asia IP Exchange portal to foster cross-sectoral exchange, collaboration, and business matching, and promoting transactions and transformation of cultural IP. And 3. Making the new flagship Hong Kong Fashion Design Week an annual signature event to develop Hong Kong into a fashion design hub in Asia. The West Kowloon Cultural District, or WKCD, is one of the largest arts and cultural projects in the world. The WKCD Authority will take a leading role in establishing an industry chain for the arts and culture and creative industries of Hong Kong, driving cultural and creative tourism, and enhancing its financial sustainability through diverse and innovative industrialization measures, including 1. Further building Hong Kong's strengths in arts trading, promote the creation of a comprehensive arts trading ecosystem, and build storage, restoration, and exhibition facilities for high-end private art collections. 2. Promoting the WKCD as a prime destination for major international cultural, creative, and commercial events. With more than 20 venues for different kinds of mega events, the WKCD Authority will step up efforts to host more major international cultural, creative, and commercial events, attracting more inbound visitors and stimulating local spending. 3. Exporting more arts, cultural, and creative projects. Organize and curate performing arts programs and exhibitions to be staged as long-run events locally in the mainland and overseas on a commercial basis, and expand the sales channels for cultural and creative merchandise. And 4. Branding the WKCD as a must-visit landmark for cultural and creative tourism. Roll out more special experience activities and step up worldwide promotion in collaboration with the Hong Kong Tourism Board to bring in more tourists. Promote sports development and build Hong Kong into a center for mega international sports events. In recent years, Hong Kong athletes have achieved outstanding results in international competitions. Hong Kong has abundant resources and support. With our soon-to-complete new landmark Kai Tak Sports Park, or KTSP, and our co-hosting of the 15th National Games with Guangdong and Macau late next year, our city has unrivaled advantages for developing itself into a platform for international sports activities. The government will continue to foster sports development by promoting sports in the community, supporting elite sports, maintaining Hong Kong as a center for major international sports events, enhancing professionalism, and developing sports as an industry. Measures include 1. Enhancing development of elite athletes and coaches. We have invited the Hong Kong Sports Institute to review the mechanism of direct financial support for athletes, including athletes with disabilities, to enhance the training system, and has set up a committee to oversee the development of sports medicine and sports science. We will also strengthen training for coaches and explore the feasibility of establishing a standardized accreditation system for coaches. 2. Boosting sports promotion in the community. Provide more sports and recreational facilities, including building a swimming complex suitable for hosting international competitions and a sports arena with fencing, training, and competition facilities. We will also regularize the pilot scheme on subvention for new sports. 3. Reforming the governance of National Sports Association, or NSAs. The Sports Federation and Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China, will conclude its review on the governance and operation of NSAs and make recommendations, ensuring the NSAs are operating effectively so that athletes, including athletes with disabilities, can realize their potential in a fair and professional environment. And 4. Developing a host city economy in the sports industry. The government will continue to support athletes to participate in different large-scale international competitions. We will make full use of the KTSP and other existing venues to host large-scale international competitions so that Hong Kong teams can compete on home soil, building their own audience. These will be conducive to the long-term development of the sports industry. The government will review the redevelopment plan for the Hong Kong Stadium to ensure a synergy with the KTSP. Develop Kai Tak Sports Park into a sports and mega event landmark. Opening in the first quarter of 2025, the KTSP is the largest sports infrastructure project ever commissioned in Hong Kong. It will boost sports development and inject impetus into related industries such as recreation, entertainment, and tourism, and also mega event economy. The Interdepartmental Task Force on KTSP, led by the Chief Secretary for Administration, will ramp up efforts in overseeing the smooth completion and commissioning of the KTSP and its publicity work, fostering the synergistic development of major sports events, innovative entertainment, dining, convention exhibitions, as well as tourism activities. The task force will also formulate thorough plans and conduct comprehensive drills on security deployment, crowd management, emergency response, and other areas. Enhance cultural confidence and revitalize Hong Kong's tourism industry. We will develop Hong Kong into a premier tourism destination through innovative thinking and making better use of our rich and unique resources, such as the Victoria Harbour, outlying islands, rural areas, cultures, cuisines, lifestyles, and historic buildings. These elements, combined with our edges in technology, animation, and comics, the performing arts, film and television culture, and more, will help to instill the concept of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong. The CSTB will publish the development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry 2.0 later this year, with the focus on promoting culture, sports, ecology, and mega events covering such areas as 1. Ecotourism. We will explore more itineraries with characteristics related to the countryside and coastal routes, such as island hopping tours in Yan Chao Tong, and enhance related amenities. Expedite the development of the South Lantau Eco-Recreation Corridor, develop the Ex-Lama Quarry site into an area for resort and outdoor recreational uses, and develop Chin Pei Choi and Park 9 into eco-tourism nodes. 2. Developing visitor sources from the Middle East and ASEAN. We will actively encourage various sectors of the community to enhance tourism support measures for creating a friendly environment for visitors. They include providing information at the airport in Arabic and encouraging taxi fleets to provide fleet service information in Arabic, compiling a list of restaurants offering halal food, encouraging more commercial establishments to provide appropriate facilities, such as worship facilities in hotels, and stepping up staff training to strengthen their knowledge on receiving visitors from different cultural backgrounds. 3. Developing tourism products with characteristics. We will promote yacht tourism in the expansion area of Aberdeen Typhoon Shelter, the Ex-Lama Quarry area, and the development of the waterfront site in the vicinity of the Hong Kong station. We will also promote panda tourism, horse racing tourism, and the like. The CSTB will promote cultural and eco-tourism itineraries and products at Shuttlecock. The Security Bureau will increase the daily visitor quota under the Shuttlecock opening up plan to 3,000 by the end of this year. Facial recognition technology will be adopted to enable people living or working at Chung Ying Street to enter and leave the streets unimpededly via a contactless mode on a pilot basis. The SB will explore the application of relevant technology to complement the future opening up of Chung Ying Street for tourism. 4. Developing mega events tourism economy. The Mega Events Coordination Group, led by the Deputy Financial Secretary, will continue to take a proactive role in attracting different mega events to Hong Kong, with emphasis on quality and quantity, boosting the retail and hotel industries. We will drive the development of the site above the exhibition station in Wan Chai North, as well as the waterfront and pier sites in the vicinity of the Hong Kong station, into new landmarks providing additional event venues. 5. Strengthening the appeal of traditional tourism. The HKTB will draw up a gourmet guide covering the 18 districts, organize gastronomic events, and promote gourmet food in different districts. The CSTB will publish the action plan on the development of cruise tourism alongside the Blueprint 2.0 to enhance the Kai Tak cruise terminal's role as a home port and a venue for conventions, exhibitions, and other events. And 6, promoting smart tourism and enhancing service quality of the tourism industry. The HKTB will strengthen its efforts in developing and promoting tourism products with Hong Kong characteristics to both locals and visitors, making use of technologies such as AI to provide one-stop assistance and attraction recommendations. We will also launch a new Outstanding Services Award scheme to consolidate our hospitable culture. Develop new tourist hotspots. The government will set up a working group on developing tourist hotspots. Led by the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, it will strengthen cross-departmental coordination and leverage community efforts, identifying and developing tourist hotspots of high popularity and with strong appeal in various districts. Increase tourist arrivals. The HKSAR government has proposed to the central government further enhancements on mainland residents' tourism visits endorsements to Hong Kong, including resuming the multiple entry individual visit endorsements for Shenzhen residents and expanding the coverage of pilot cities for implementing policies on the one trip per week individual visit endorsements. The central government has advised that relevant departments are studying the expedited implementation of the proposal proactively. To foster closer people ties with ASEAN countries, starting today, the government will relax the criteria for nationals of Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar applying for multiple entry visas for travel and business and extend the validity period of multiple entry visas for these countries from 2 years to 3 years. The arrangement also applies to Vietnamese who have benefited from the relaxation of the visa policy since last year. Under a fast-track arrangement, we will expedite the processing of visa applications from group visitors of ASEAN countries submitted via local travel agents. In addition, we will provide self-service immigration clearance for invited persons participating in business, development, and related activities from the 10 ASEAN countries, and provide one-stop handling of the applications for self-service immigration clearance and visa through a dedicated desk. Various bureaus will provide assistance in drawing up the list. Effective today, the requirements for visitors to furnish an arrival or departure card is cancelled, facilitating a faster and more convenient immigration clearance. Foster economic diversification, support small and medium enterprises. To address the challenges commonly encountered by SMEs during economic restructuring, the government will introduce the following support measures. 1. Relaunching the principal moratorium. Borrowing enterprises under the SME financing guarantee scheme, including the existing loans already granted under the 80%, 90%, and special 100% guarantee products, as well as new loans under the 80 and 90% guarantee products, will be allowed to apply for principal moratorium for up to 12 months. The maximum loan guarantee period of the 80% and 90% guarantee products will be extended to 10 years and 8 years respectively, while the partial principal repayment options will be offered to new loans under the 2 guarantee products. The HKMA is also actively considering to provide flexibility in banks' capital requirements to facilitate the lending to SMEs. 2. Injecting $1 billion into the BUD Fund. Support will be provided for SMEs to upgrade their business operations and develop new markets through the dedicated fund on branding, upgrading, and domestic sales, or the BUD Fund, including expanding the geographical coverage of e-commerce easy to the 10 ASEAN countries and providing targeted funding support for enterprises to implement green transformation projects. 3. Supporting digital transformation of SMEs and capitalizing on e-commerce opportunities. The scope of Cyberport's Digital Transformation Support Pilots Program will be expanded to cover the retail and food and beverage sectors, as well as industries such as tourism and personal services, subsidizing SMEs for digital transformation on a one-to-one matching basis. The Hong Kong Shopping Festival is to be relaunched in the next 2 years to help SMEs tap into the mainland e-commerce sales market and will be held in the ASEAN markets in due course. 4. Strengthening brand development of SMEs. The HKTDC will formulate plans for setting up more Hong Kong pavilions in mainland and overseas exhibitions to further promote Hong Kong brands. The Trade and Industry Department and the HKTDC will also enhance support for SMEs in developing brands and expanding the sales network of e-commerce. 5. Enhancing the services of the Hong Kong Design Centre. The organization and functions of the Hong Kong Design Centre will be restructured so as to assist SMEs in the design industry to enhance their services in products and brand design and strengthen collaboration and interface with startups and mainland enterprises operating in Hong Kong. 6. Enhancing incentives for recurrent exhibitions. An additional provisions of $500 million will be allocated for launching the incentive scheme for recurrent exhibitions 2.0, targeting new and international exhibitions of large scale, so as to further promote mega events economy and the development of the convention and exhibition industry. 7. Supporting participation in government procurement. The HKHA will refine the application procedures for admission to the list of maintenance works contractors, providing more tendering opportunities for contractors. And 8. Enhancing security of payments in the construction industry. The government has introduced the Construction Industry Security of Payments Bill, which prohibits the use of unfair payments terms, such as conditional payments in contracts, and introduces an adjudication mechanism to resolve payments disputes. Develop silver economy. Given the rapid expansion of the silver market, there is growing demand for products and services catering to the elderly. Developing new products and services to meet the needs of the elderly will help enhance their quality of life and also generate business opportunities. The government will set up a working group on promoting silver economy, led by the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration. The working group will implement measures in 5 areas. 1. Boosting silver consumption. We will work with all sectors to foster elderly-friendly consumption and encourage incorporation of silver economy elements into the business, for example, by offering discounts to the elderly. Efforts will also be made to safeguard the rights and interests of elderly consumers. 2. Developing the silver industry. We will promote marketization and industrialization of products catering to the elderly by consolidating funding resources to support product provision and market expansion by the business sector. 3. Promoting quality assurance of silver products. We will promote the certification of products catering to the elderly to enhance their recognition and appeal. Standards adopted will be aligned with those of the mainland and overseas to facilitate sales network expansion. 4. Enhancing silver financial and security arrangements. We will assist the elderly in making proper financial arrangements and strengthening their financial security. Relevant measures include promoting retirement financial planning products offered by the Hong Kong Mortgage Corporation Limited and providing investor education for the elderly. And 5. Unleashing silver productivity. We will help unleash the productivity of the elderly through retraining, reemployment, and other measures. Promote sustainable development of the agriculture and fisheries industries. We will continue to take forward the blueprints for the sustainable development of agriculture and fisheries. Relevant work includes developing deep-sea mariculture at Wong Chuk Kok Hoi and Myers Bay new fish culture zones, conducting preparatory work for the Agricultural Park Phase 2 development, implementing urban farming strategy in NDAs, facilitating the livestock sector to construct modernized and environmental-friendly multi-story livestock farms, and promoting leisure farming and fisheries.
以及推動休閒娛樂。
Take forward the Northern Metropolis's growth engine and deepen GBA collaboration. The Northern Metropolis is a new engine of Hong Kong's economic development. We will expedite the implementation of economic and housing-related projects in the Northern Metropolis while maintaining a prudent fiscal position. The Northern Metropolis will gradually enter the maturity phase. In the next 5 years, some 60,000 housing units involving about 10 new PRH estates will be completed and ready for intake. The first batch of land at the 17th Technopole will be put to the market. The new Huangguang port building with co-location of immigration and customs clearance arrangement will be completed. In a second 5-year period, the number of new housing units will increase by about 150,000, with over 10 million square meters of gross floor area available for economic uses. The first joint user government building in Kutong North will be put to use, and the expanded North District Hospital will be ready for service. As for transport infrastructure, construction of the Northern Link main line is scheduled for completion in 2034, and the Northern Metropolis Highway 17 section is set to open in 2036. These developments will significantly boost our economic growth and bolster our R&D and technology industries while providing a better living environment which will help attract talents and encourage them to settle in Hong Kong for good. It will also enhance the quality of life of the people in Hong Kong, improving their livelihood and well-being. The government will seek funding for the first stage of 17 Technopolis infrastructure and begin construction works this year. The target is to deliver about 20 hectares of new I&T sites in phases beginning in 2026 to 27 for the Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation's development and operation. In addition, the second phase of the Yuen Long South NDA will begin in mid-2025. The preliminary development proposal for Ngau Tam Mei will be announced shortly, with land reserved for developing a Northern Metropolis University Town, the third medical school, and an integrated teaching hospital. This will be followed by the announcement of the preliminary development proposals for the new territories North New Town and the Ma To Long area before end this year. The rezoning process for Sandy Ridge in the North District will begin this year, expanding its I&T sites to 10 hectares for use as data centers and related purposes. We are exploring the establishment of a pilot industrial park by granting some of the logistics sites in the Hong Shui Kiu Hachin NDA to a company established and led by the government. The company will, in accordance with the government's industrial policies, be responsible for formulating the park's development and operation strategies, including considering whether to accept strategic investment, taking up day-to-day management, and attracting businesses and investment. We will announce the details in the first quarter of next year. Separately, we will consider flexible disposal approaches for industry land to meet the development needs of individual industries, with a view to driving industry development. To expedite development of the Northern Metropolis, the government will adopt, on a pilot basis, a large-scale land disposal approach under which sizable land parcels with commercial value and earmarked for provision of community facilities will be selected and granted to successful bidders for collective development. This approach can speed up development of the land parcels, enabling a more coordinated design for the area. We have identified 3 land parcels, each of 10 to 20 hectares, as pilot sites. Promote development of the Hong Kong-Shenzhen I&T Park in the Loop. The Hetao Shenzhen Hong Kong Science and Technology Innovation Cooperation Zone, located on both sides of the Shenzhen River, consists of the Shenzhen Park and the Hong Kong Park. Capitalizing on the strength of one country, two systems, with the geographic advantages of one river, two banks, the government will develop the Hong Kong Park and Loop into a world-class industry, academia, research platform, and internationally competitive R&D transformation and pilot production base for industries, a hub for pulling global I&T resources, as well as a testing ground for institutional and policy innovation. I have established a steering committee on the Hong Kong-Shenzhen I&T Park and Loop, chaired by myself, to lead the Hong Kong SAR government to formulate the overall strategy, planning, and layout for the development of the Hong Kong Park. The development outline for the Hong Kong Park of the Hetao Shenzhen Hong Kong Science and Technology Innovation Cooperation Zone will be published later this year, setting out innovative policies to facilitate the flow of personnel, materials, capital, and data between the two parks, making the cooperation zone a crucial source of new quality productive forces for our country. The Hong Kong Park will be developed in 2 phases from west to east. and other pillar industries will begin to move in next year. The remaining 5 buildings will be completed in the coming 5 years. We are also exploring with the mainland authorities the trial implementation of innovative facilitation measures, including facilitating cross-boundary travel of designated personnel of the two parks, enabling the cross-boundary movement of materials using low-altitude unmanned aerial vehicles, and facilitating cross-boundary fund transfers by mainland enterprises settling in the Hong Kong park. Leveraging the strength of the GBA to foster mutual capacity development. The GBA is a strategic fulcrum of the new development pattern of our country, a demonstration zone of high-quality development, and a pioneer of Chinese modernization, and Hong Kong is an active participant, facilitator, and beneficiary. To strengthen top-level planning and steer, I have established a steering group on integration international development to lead the Hong Kong SAR government and all sectors of the community to take a more proactive role in promoting the integrated development of Hong Kong and the mainland, particularly the mainland cities of the GBA, deepening collaboration through various cooperation task forces between the two sides. The government will continue to promote the GBA development by building a higher level of connectivity, facilitating policy innovations and breakthroughs, pursuing wider harmonization of rules and mechanisms, and expediting coordinated development of INT and related industries. The Hong Kong IA Dongguan Logistics Park is an excellent example for the development of an innovative cooperation mechanism. The park, built with Hong Kong investment, combines the strengths in aviation and logistics with the mainland's advantages in terms of land and manpower resources, leading to a reduction in operating costs and cargo handling time. We will work with the Dongguan municipal government to jointly develop the permanent logistics park. We will combine the strength of the Hong Kong IA and the Zhuhai Airport, enhancing the fly via Zhuhai Hong Kong direct passenger service and promoting the development of the international air cargo business in collaboration with the Zhuhai municipality to achieve mutual benefits. Enhance the mechanism on recognition of professional qualifications. In collaboration with the Guangdong province, we have established an evaluation mechanism of post titles for the first batch of Hong Kong engineering professionals. We will continue to do so for other construction professions on a gradual basis. We are also collaborating with the Guangdong province and Macau to create GBA standards on a skill level for skilled workers in the construction sector, and we work with the one examination multiple certification arrangement so that those who pass the examinations adopting the GBA standards can concurrently obtain vocational skill certificates issued by the 3 places. This will enhance the training quality of the construction industry in the GBA and nurture talents. The Hong Kong IC is proactively exploring with relevant mainland organizations cooperation opportunities for joint investment in GBA projects that present the potential to realize economic and social benefits, taking into account market developments. Promote data flow. The standard contract for the cross-boundary flow of personal information within the GBA, mainland Hong Kong, piloted in the banking, credit referencing, and healthcare sectors since last year, has been operating smoothly. Streamlining cross-boundary data flow in compliance with relevant rules. We will extend the measure to all sectors, promoting more cross-boundary services to benefit the public and businesses while facilitating data flow throughout the GBA. Scale up medical collaboration in the GBA. We will extend the elderly healthcare voucher GBA pilot scheme to cover 9 mainland cities in the GBA and expand the sharing of cross-boundary medical records via the e-health platform. We will work to enable the cross-boundary use of data, samples, drugs, and medical devices through the GBA Clinical Trial Collaboration Platform and the Real-World Study and Application Center in the Hetao, Shenzhen, Hong Kong Science and Technology Innovation Cooperation Zone. That will accelerate the development of the pharmaceutical industry for medical innovation. We will also foster collaboration with the GBA to promote specialist training that aligns with international standards. We will continue to follow up on the implementation of the enhanced arrangement for cross-boundary service of judicial documents and promote the establishment of a GBA legal information platform and a dedicated platform for GBA lawyers to facilitate professional exchange and training. We have been encouraging local universities to offer education services in the GBA. To date, 4 GBA campuses have been set up. In addition, we have set up the GBA Youth Employment Scheme to encourage Hong Kong youth to work in the region. We are exploring the provision of a reciprocal arrangement.
Improve people's livelihood in pursuit of happiness. Housing continuously enhance speed, quality, and efficiency. Increase public housing supply. Housing is an issue of great public concern. Despite the relatively slow pace of creating land for housing developments in the past, the problem of backloaded public housing supply has started to turn around through the unremitting efforts of the government. While we have identified land for providing sufficient public housing units to meet the long-term demand and enhance the speed as well as efficiency of housing development, land creation and housing construction take time. To bridge the short-term supply gaps in these few years, I announced in 2022 the introduction of the innovative LPH with the provision of 30,000 units in order to reduce the composite waiting time for subsidized rental housing, or CWT. This measure has been bearing fruit. Coupled with LPH, the total public housing supply in the coming 5 years, that is 2025 to 6 to 2029 to 30, will reach 189,000 units, which is about 80% higher than that of the first 5-year period since the current term government took office, that is 2022 to 3 to 2026 to 7. In the past 2 years, the average waiting time for PRH dropped by half a year, from the peak of 6.1 years to the current 5.5 years. Following the gradual completion of LPH next year, the CWT could be shortened by 1.5 years to 4.5 years in 2026 to 27. I am eager to house PRH applicants as early as possible. The advanced allocation scheme I proposed when I took office has so far helped more than 2,000 families move in the flex 5 to 9 months in advance, saving nearly $50 million of rental expenditure on the part of the beneficiaries. By 2027 to 28, about 10,000 additional units will be completed, enabling PRH applicants to move in earlier than originally anticipated. In addition, the first batch of some 2,100 LPH units located on Yau Pok Road, Yuen Long, will be completed for intake in the first quarter of next year. We expect to complete a total of about 9,500 units next year, moving towards the targets of completing about 30,000 units by 2027 to 8. Devise a system on the renting of subdivided units in residential buildings to tackle the issue. The task force on tackling the issue of SDUs has already submitted a report. The government has decided to put in place, through legislation, a system on the renting of SDUs in residential buildings. SDUs meeting the required standards will be named as basic housing units. Current SDUs differ significantly in the conditions regarding fire safety, ventilation, floor area, availability of individual kitchens and toilets, and whether they are separated or combined, among others. As such, it is necessary to set minimum standards to eradicate inadequate SDUs. At present, there are some 110,000 households living in SDUs, indicating a genuine demand for these units. As the aggregate rent received from several units subdivided from a single flat is much higher than the rent of one whole flat without subdivision, it gives owners a strong financial incentive to operate rental SDUs. Under appropriate regulation, the market's demand for SDUs will be satisfied by basic housing units that meet the required standards. Substandard SDUs in residential buildings must be converted into basic housing units that meet the required standards. Upon conversion, these units must be confirmed by professionals the compliance with the required standards and apply for recognition. Otherwise, there would be criminal liability on the part of owners to rent out substandard SDUs, while the tenants concerned will not be held liable. We will allow time for owners of existing SDUs in residential buildings to carry out these necessary works. A grace period will be prescribed by the law, during which enforcement actions will not be taken against the illegal renting of substandard SDUs. To this end, the government will set up a registration system, enabling registered owners to be entitled to the grace period. The registration system only accepts applications from owners of pre-existing SDUs in residential buildings under rental. New SDUs entering the market must apply for recognition as up-to-standard basic housing units before renting out. Hence, no grace period is needed for the conversion. Given that only new SDUs recognized as up-to-standard basic housing units are allowed to be rented out, and that pre-existing registered SDUs must be converted into basic housing units in conformity with the required standards, or they will face orderly eradication if the owners concerned continue to rent out substandard SDUs illegally after the grace period. The number of substandard SDUs in residential buildings will gradually go down to zero. The government will allow an adequate grace period for pre-existing SDU owners and households to make necessary arrangements and handle SDUs in residential buildings by batches in an orderly manner, having regard to the market supply of basic housing units and taking into consideration the supply of and policy on public housing. The Secretary for Housing will be empowered by law to decide, upon expiry of the grace period, when to take enforcement actions against substandard SDUs by batches and in an orderly manner in light of actual circumstances. The government proposes that the standards of basic housing units should include the provision of windows and individual toilets, a floor area of no less than 8 square meters, etc. The Deputy Financial Secretary and the Secretary for Housing, being the head and deputy head of the task force respectively, will announce the details and seek the views of the LegCo and stakeholders for drawing up the legislative proposals and related measures, such as the timetable for registration. The HKHA will further enhance the housing ladder in addressing the aspiration of the public for home ownership, including 1. Adjusting the ratio between PRH, including Green Farm Subsidized Home Ownership Scheme or GSH units, and Subsidized Sale Flex SSF. The HKHA is reviewing public housing projects to be completed in the middle or near the end of the next decade, with an aim to gradually adjust the ratio between PRH and SSF from the current 7:3 to 6:4. 2. Increasing the chance of applicants who have made repeated attempts to purchase SSF. Starting from the next GSH and HOS sale exercise, an extra ballot number will be allocated to applicants who failed to purchase a SSF in the last 2 consecutive sale exercises of the same type of SSF. And 3. Expediting the circulation of PRH units. The HKHA will tighten up the well-off tenants policies by raising the additional rent and lowering the income limits for well-off tenants so that public resources are appropriately allocated to applicants in need. Meanwhile, the ratio between green form and white form in respect of HOS flags will be revised from 4:6 to 5:5 to encourage more PRH tenants to buy HOS flags. Combat public rental housing tenancy abuse. In recent years, the HKHA has been strengthening its efforts to combat PRH tenancy abuse. The number of PRH flags recovered by the HKHA due to tenancy abuse and breach of tenancy agreements or housing policies over the last 2 years adds up to 5,000, equivalent to building a medium-sized housing estate. The results are prominent. The HKHA will launch the Cherished Public Housing Resources Award Scheme in January next year to offer rewards to persons who provide concrete intelligence that leads to identification of substantiated tenancy abuse of PRH. The HKHA is proceeding with 11 redevelopment projects. We will announce the findings and details of the study on the redevelopments of Choi Hong Estate later this year and release the redevelopment plans for Saiwan Estates and Mao Tau Wai Estates next year. Stabilize the supply of spade-ready sites for private housing. According to the long-term housing strategy, the supply targets for private housing in the coming decade is projected to be 132,000 units. The government will make available land over the next 5 years to provide about 80,000 private housing units. Relax the maximum loan-to-value ratios of property mortgage loans. Taking into account the latest economic and financial environment, and on the basis that the stability of the banking system is maintained, the HKMA will adjust the maximum loan-to-value ratio for residential properties to 70%, regardless of the value of the properties, whether the properties are for self-use or held by companies, and whether the purchasers are first-time home buyers, while the maximum debt servicing ratio will be adjusted to 50%. For non-residential properties, the maximum loan-to-value ratio and maximum debt servicing ratio will be adjusted to the respective same levels. Further improve building safety and building management. Through the Building Management Professional Advisory Service Scheme, the Home Affairs Department assisted in the formation of about 100 owners' corporations in the past 2 years in 9 districts with more 3 new buildings. The scheme has been expanded to cover all districts across the city in mid-2024, with the contract period extended to 3 years. Next year, the government will implement a pilot scheme on joint property management in selected areas, under which the same property management company will be engaged to provide joint management services for aged building clusters in the vicinity, enabling 3 new and aged buildings to have access to basic property management services at affordable fees. To enhance deterrence against failure to comply with notices or orders by required time and against the erection of large-scale unauthorized building works or UBWs, the government will put forth proposals to amend the Buildings Ordinance and launch a public consultation later this year. Among other things, we will propose increasing the types of exempted works and minor works under the Buildings Ordinance so as to handle minor illegal structure of lower risks in a pragmatic manner. The relevant legislative amendment proposals will be introduced in 2026. To foster an elderly-friendly building environment, the government will put forward a series of proposals on elderly-friendly building design for phased implementation. Create land to build more housing. The government remains determined to sustain efforts in land production. We will assess the situation and take forward various projects in a steady and paced manner. According to the latest forecast, the supply of developable land, i.e., that is spade-ready sites from government-led projects, will reach about 3,000 hectares in the next decade. The government will take into account the latest market changes when disposing land, ensuring a stable and healthy development of the market. Cut more red tapes and lower cost. We are making vigorous efforts in streamlining land development procedures. We have promulgated an internal circular expressly stating that all approving departments are required to take a facilitating role and strive to streamline the relevant procedures when processing applications. The initiative is well received by the industry. We will continue to cut red tapes. Relevant measures include: 1. We will outsource drone inspections of external walls of buildings and UBWs, as well as associated analysis to private companies. We will also engage professionals to handle the vetting work of small-scale or temporary structures through self-certification. 2. Reducing construction costs. We will strengthen the role of the Project Strategy and Governance Office under the DEVB to complete a strategic study on construction costs by the end of this year and propose improvement measures, such as increasing direct procurement of construction materials and products by the government, reviewing the building design standards, and facilitating local application of cost-effective construction materials and technologies from the main and overseas. And 3. Expanding project coordination. We will expand the purview of the Development Projects Facilitation Office under the DEVB to facilitate coordination with departments in expediting the approval of land use and related matters for the development of I&T and other industries in the Northern Metropolis, in addition to vetting of large-scale private residential and commercial developments. Facilitate R&D and application of construction technologies and align Hong Kong standards with Guibiao. The DVB established the Building Technology Research Institute, or BTRI, this August. Apart from conducting R&D on innovative materials, construction methods, and technologies, the BTRI also devises standards, conducts testing, and provides accreditation to spearhead innovation in the industry. A Modular Integrated Construction, or MIC, Manufacturer Certification Scheme will also be launched in synergy with production bases in the mainland, so as to leverage the complementarity of the construction industries in Guangdong and Hong Kong. We will also review and enhance Hong Kong's building standards, which have been in place for many years, through the BTRI by making reference to overseas building standards and Guobiao, GB, with a view to promoting local application of high-quality and cost-effective construction materials from the mainland and overseas. Moreover, when high-quality Guobiao construction materials and technologies are applied locally, it will also be beneficial for Guobiao to explore international markets. We will also closely liaise with our counterparts in the Guangdong province to take forward the formulation of the GVA construction standards. The HKHA will make wider use of MIC 2.0, the second-generation MIC approach jointly developed with research institutions, and streamline the on-site installation procedures to safeguard safety. Tender documents will also expressly state the works procedures permissible for the use of construction robotics to enhance site safety and construction efficiency. The government will take forward the Kaoyi Artificial Islands projects in a steady and prudent manner. We will commence the statutory environmental impact assessment process for the reclamation works under the projects by the end of this year. The target is to complete the relevant approval procedures next year. Related detailed engineering design will commence later this year. The URA is conducting planning studies for Chunwan and Shamshui-Po and will submit renewal master plans in the second half of next year. Meanwhile, the DEVB is examining the use of newly developed land to drive large-scale urban redevelopment projects, including the cross-district transfer of plot ratios and the construction of more dedicated rehousing estates, etc. The target is to formulate proposals in the first half of next year. To continue encouraging redevelopment and conversion of aged industrial buildings, we will extend an array of measures which are expiring soon under the revitalization scheme for industrial buildings to the end of 2027, continuing to allow an increase in plot ratio of up to 20% for industrial building redevelopment projects.
推動加
Take forward the construction of transport infrastructure. The government is actively following through the major transport infrastructure development blueprint for Hong Kong, under which the Hong Shui Q Station and the Northern Link Main Line are to commence construction this year and next year for tentative completion in 2030 and 2034 respectively. In parallel, cross-boundary railway projects are pressed ahead at full speed, including the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link Hong Shui Q Qianhai and the Northern Link spur line to enhance linkage between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Build smart and green mass transit systems. Devoted to take forward the 3 smart and green mass transit systems and for compressing the time required for construction, we invited suppliers and operators to submit expressions of interest for the East Kowloon and Kai Tak projects this August. We will invite expressions of interest for the Hong Shui Q Ha-Chin projects later this year. Through innovative implementation mode and construction methods, we aim to complete the Kai Tak project 3 years ahead of the original target completion date. Deepen reform of the healthcare system. To enhance the health of the people of Hong Kong, improve healthcare protection and quality, and capitalize on our healthcare profession strengths, the government will conduct a comprehensive review on the positioning and objectives of the healthcare system. The review will cover the following areas: reforming the functions and division of work among the Hospital Authority (HA), the Department of Health (DH), and the Primary Healthcare Commission (PHC) Commission, strengthening health promotion and disease prevention in primary healthcare, and improving public healthcare services. In parallel, we will inform private healthcare services in terms of their quality, cost-effectiveness, and price transparency, providing the public with high-quality, cost-effective, and affordable healthcare service options. We will also support manpower training and technology innovation, helping to uphold the global standing and regional advantage of Hong Kong's healthcare professions. This will also be conducive to the development of Hong Kong into an international health and medical innovation hub and advanced medical service center in Asia, a place where medical professional clusters, as well as a bridge for East and West healthcare exchanges. The government will promote the development of primary healthcare on all fronts, including 1. Formulating legislation to strengthen the regulatory framework of primary healthcare and authorize the PHC Commission to set up quality assurance and monitoring mechanisms. 2. Developing a community drug formulary and launching a community pharmacy program to help the public obtain affordable primary healthcare drugs through central purchasing and the community network. 3. Devising health promotion strategies by adopting a life course framework to formulate health management plans for the public according to age and health conditions. 4. Revamping maternal and child health and family planning services to strengthen pre-pregnancy counseling and parental education and promote health fertility. 5. Strengthening the whole school health program to recommend targeted school-based measures for physical activities, meals, and other matters for each school to improve students' physical and psychological well-being. 6. Upgrading more district health center expresses into district health centers DHCs and expanding the service network and integrating the services of women health centers and elderly health centers. 7. Expanding the chronic disease co-care pilot scheme to cover blood lipid testing, positioning the HA's general outpatient services as the comprehensive primary healthcare service providers for the underprivileged. 8. Formulating risk-based screening programs for prevalent cancers on a gradual basis, including breast cancer screening, exploring the use of AI to assist lung cancer screening, and implementing hepatitis B screening to prevent liver cancer. 9. Launching a primary dental co-care pilot scheme for adolescents to encourage the prevention of dental diseases, as well as a community dental support program to enhance dental services for underprivileged groups. This would include elderly persons in financial hardship, replacing the Community Care Fund Elderly Dental Assistance Program, and introducing preventive dental services for preschool children. And 10. Continuing efforts in tobacco control. The government will strengthen the HA's public healthcare services, including 1. Reviewing the structure and levels of the HA's fees and charges to encourage prudent use of services and direct resources to patients who need them most and for those with serious or critical conditions, while increasing support for patients with financial difficulties and strengthening the financial sustainability of the targeted subsidization of public healthcare services. 2. Strengthening the centralized procurement of drugs and medical devices by various clusters of the HA system in order to enhance their bargaining power and to expedite in a more proactive manner the introduction of new drugs, meeting efficacy and cost-effectiveness standards to the drug formulary. 3. Formulating a directory for inherited and rare diseases by using the Hong Kong Genome Institute's genomic data, thereby facilitating earlier diagnosis and treatment by clinical teams while supporting relevant research and clinical trials to promote precision medicine. 4. Fully integrating the pediatric services of various clusters at Hong Kong Children's Hospital and developing more advanced healthcare services to make the best use of the Children's Hospital. 5. Finalizing the projects and timetable of the second hospital development plan to dovetail with the development of the Northern Metropolis and to address the needs of local districts. 6. Setting up, in accordance with national accreditation standards, the first stroke center and the second chest pain center. 7. Enhancing the triage system and referral arrangements for specialist outpatient services, including setting up interspecialty integrated outpatient clinics to avoid the need for multiple referrals. And 8. Increasing the service capacity for cataract surgeries by at least 20%. The government will also enhance the quality and efficiency of healthcare services, including 1. Establishing a professional platform for developing evidence-based clinical protocols and exploring the feasibility of devising service quality and efficiency standards for public and private healthcare sectors. 2. Developing quality indicators for public and private healthcare systems and exploring legislating for private healthcare price transparency to enhance service efficiency and address the issue of medical inflation with a plan to consult the healthcare sector next year. And 3. amending relevant legislation to require all healthcare providers to deposit essential health data in a personal e-health accounts of members of the public, enabling the latter to have more complete electronic health records and enhanced continuity of medical care. Will promote the use of the legislation passed earlier to proactively admit more non-local doctors, nurses, and dentists to enhance manpower. The government will introduce a bill on the admission of qualified non-locally trained supplementary medical professionals next year. Support establishment of a third medical school. In addition to increasing training places of the existing two medical schools, the government supports a plan by local universities to establish a third medical school, increasing the number of doctors and supporting the city's development as an international health and medical innovation hub. A task group will be set up inviting universities interested in establishing the new medical school to submit proposals. The government will set aside sites in the northern Metropolis in Maritime to develop the new medical school campus and build an integrated medical teaching and research hospital. Promote development of Chinese medicine. To develop Hong Kong into a bridgehead for the internationalization of Chinese medicine (CM), the government will make use of Hong Kong's advantages in its healthcare system, regulatory regime, standard setting, clinical research, and trade in other areas. We will publish the CM development blueprint next year and take forward the following measures. 1. Exploring the application of big data to foster international research collaboration on herb-drug interaction to discover more evidence of clinical significance, promoting the internationalization of CM. 2. Expanding integrated Chinese Western medicine services to cover more diseases in which CM has an advantage, including respiratory diseases, knee osteoarthritis, and to progressively extend the cancer care program to all hospital clusters. 3. Rolling out the first Chinese medicine hospital and the permanent premises of the government Chinese Medicine Testing Institute, which are expected to be completed and begin phased operation next year. And 4. Organizing the first edition of Hong Kong Chinese Medicine Cultural Festival to promote the culture of CM in collaboration with the industry. The government will extend integrated services based on a medical, educational, social collaboration model to promote mental health. Relevant measures include 1. Formulating a step care model for mental health. We will develop a multidisciplinary framework with tiers, from dealing with general emotional problems in the front line to handling cases requiring follow-up and more serious mental illnesses cases. The framework sets out the roles of different professionals, such as teaching staff, social workers, and healthcare workers, and their division of work in the provision of mental health services for cases in each tier, enabling them to work together and perform their respective roles smoothly. 2. Raising community awareness of mental health. An annual promotional theme will be set for the Mental Health Workplace Charter, and recognition will be given to participating organizations for achieving targets. We will also promote the 4Rs Mental Health Charter in schools to promote the mental health of students, teaching staff, and parents in a more holistic manner. 3. Enhancing support for children and adolescents. We will extend and enhance the 3-tier school-based emergency mechanism and launch the mental health literacy resource packages for senior, secondary, and lower primary levels. A real-time online youth emotional support platform will be set up in the second quarter of next year. 4. Facilitating the integration of persons in mental recovery into the community. We will set up transitional support service teams for persons in mental recovery, offering support to discharged patients waitlisted for halfway house service. The Social Welfare Department will also set up an additional integrated community center for mental wellness. And 5. Strengthening teacher training and parent education. We will strengthen teachers' capacity in the early identification of and support for students with mental health needs and assist parents in acquiring the knowledge and skills in addressing children's mental health. Build a caring and inclusive society. I attach great importance to building a harmonious and stable community, one that is caring and inclusive, providing targeted assistance to the underprivileged and families in need. Social welfare tops public expenditures of all policy portfolios with more than $300 million spent on social welfare each day. This underlines the government's emphasis on social welfare. The government has adopted the strategy of targeted poverty alleviation by directing resources to those most in need. This approach is well received by the community. We will focus on the following key areas. 1. Expanding the Strive and Rise program. We will launch the third cohort of the program this year to recruit 4,000 mentees. We will also encourage youth leaders of the Alumni Club to organize activities for self-development, enhanced training for mentors, and related initiatives. 2. Extending the pilot program on community living room CIR. We will set up 3 additional CIRs next year in areas clusters with SDUs. They are expected to benefit about 1,300 target households, serving about 200,000 attendances a year, including the 4 CIRs already launched. They are expected to serve about 3,050 SDU households, drawing about 470,000 attendances a year. 3. Enhancing the school-based after-school care service scheme. Beginning this school year, the number of primary schools covered by the scheme will increase from 50 to over 110, enabling students in need to stay at school outside school hours for care and learning support, allowing their parents to take up jobs. Subject to the actual utilization and outcome of the scheme, we plan to encourage more schools to take part in the scheme without capping the number of places in the 2025-26 school year. And 4. Subsidizing elderly recipients of the Comprehensive Social Security Assistance (CSSA) to reside in residential care homes for the elderly RCHEs in the Guangdong province. We will launch a 3-year pilot scheme next year to subsidize elderly CSSA recipients retiring in Guangdong to reside in designated RCHEs in the Guangdong province. Each eligible elderly person will receive a monthly subsidy of $5,000 subject to a quota of 1,000. Care for the elderly. The government attaches great importance to caring for the elderly in need and has been constantly strengthening elderly services. The total number of vouchers under the Residential Care Services Voucher Scheme for the elderly will be increased by 20% to 6,000, allowing more frail elderly persons to be admitted to RCHEs of their choice and receive subsidized care services without waiting. We will enhance the residential care services scheme in Guangdong to provide more choices and support for elderly persons who opt to stay in RCHEs in the province. Relevant measures include 1. Increasing the number of participating RCHEs from the existing 4 to 11 in November 2024. 2. Sharing part of the elderly participants' medical expenses in Guangdong. And 3. Engaging organizations to provide care services for participating elderly persons to help them adapt to living in Guangdong. We are providing, through the special scheme to import care workers for RCHs, additional manpower support for local residential care homes RCHs, and enhancing their staff quality. We are also conducting a holistic review of the skill and qualification requirements of RCH staff, providing health and rehabilitation services, including the creation of promotion ranks for incumbent health workers and the relaxation of the academic qualification for the Certificate in Progression Training for Care Workers program. The review is expected to be completed by the end of this year. The government is also discussing with the banking sector possible ways to enable Hong Kong elderly persons retiring in Guangdong and Fujian provinces to receive portable cash assistance from the government more conveniently through banks. Support carers. The government is committed to supporting carers. In addition to providing carers allowance, respite services, a one-stop information gateway, and the 24-hour designated hotline for carer support 182 183, we launched the District Services and Community Care Teams pilot scheme on supporting elderly and carers in Tsuen Wan and Southern District this March. Trained by the SWD, care teams of the 2 districts identify and reach out to households in need and provide support to the elderly and carers who seek help from designated hotline. The scheme has achieved good results. In the past 6 months, the care teams visited 4,700 families and referred about 900 cases to social welfare organizations for follow-up. Next year, we will extend the scheme to across the territory, supporting elderly persons and carers in all 18 districts. We will also explore the setting up of an interdisciplinary and inter-organization database. It will cover carers of elderly persons and carers of persons with disabilities, PWDs, and the use of identification tools designed by university teams for the detection of high-risk cases and early intervention and support. Strengthen support for PWDs. We will further enhance the rehabilitation services for PWDs, including 1. Establishing 14 integrated community rehabilitation centers across the city with the provision of 1,280 additional service places to support PWDs based on their individual needs and rehabilitation progress through an integrated case management approach. 2. Creating 90 additional peer support posts to enhance peer assistance for PWDs and their carers. 3. Setting up an additional district support center for PWDs in new territories east. And 4. Providing about 1,040 additional places for day, residential, and preschool rehabilitation services and exploring the establishment of special childcare centers on vacant kindergarten premises. To encourage and support PWDs to engage in employment, the government will introduce a caring employer medal, commending employers who actively engage PWDs, promote the establishment of more social enterprises engaging PWDs, and enhance the services and training models of sheltered workshops and integrated vocational rehabilitation service centers, building a better vocational rehabilitation and training ladder for PWDs. Promote women's development. There are many women in Hong Kong playing leading roles. To promote women's workplace development, we will establish a network run by leading women from all walks of life and launch a mentorship program. She Inspires. Under the program, female university students will be paired with mentors from the senior management of different sectors. Support working parents. To support working parents, I announced the setting up of 10 aided standalone childcare centers last year. The government will set up one more child care center, providing 100 additional places for day child care services. Service places under the Neighborhood Support Childcare Project will be increased by 25% to 2,500, with the estimated number of beneficiaries increasing to 25,000. The LegCo has enacted the mandatory reporting of child abuse ordinance to require professionals in the social welfare, education, and healthcare sectors to report serious child abuse cases. To strengthen parental education, the SWD will launch a pilot scheme to set up 4 community parents and children centers to promote parent-child interaction and pass on positive parenting skills to parents through play-based services supporting families in need. Provide support for ethnic minorities. To help ethnic minorities, EMs, better integrate into the community, I announced the setting up of 2 additional support service centers for EMs last year, which will begin operation by the end of this year. The government will engage one more support service center to provide interpretation and translation services for EMs next year, reducing language barrier concerns. The EDB will also strengthen Chinese learner support and parental assistance for non-Chinese speaking NCS students, including EM students, providing after-school Chinese language courses, enhancing the online Chinese language self-learning resources, and organizing cross-school teacher learning communities. The EDB will also provide parental education activities for the parents of NCS children. Care teams. Care teams are the government's key service teams under the improved district governance structure. Fully launched across the city last year, all 452 care teams have been working diligently and providing a wide range of caring and support services for the community. To date, they have visited about 230,000 elderly households and other households in need and provided over 22,000 counts of simple household care or other support services. Their service has been well received by the public. The government will regularize the funding provision for care teams and increase funding by 50% in the next term of service in support of their work.
強化
Strengthen labor support. Reform the Employees Retraining Board and vigorously strengthen the training of local workers. In the last policy address, I announced a comprehensive review on the Employees Retraining Board, or the ERB, which has been completed. I accept the recommendations on reforming the ERB, enhancing its role and positioning, from providing employment-related training targeted at low-skilled workers to devising skills-based training programs and strategies for the entire workforce. In face of intense market competition, rapid industry development, and widespread use of technology application, it is particularly important for the workforce to engage in lifetime learning and acquire new skills. Near-term reform measures include, from early next year, removing from the eligibility criteria the cap on education level of service recipients and increasing the annual number of training places by at least 15,000, targeting as the entire workforce. Strengthening collaboration with higher education institutions and leading enterprises, as well as enhancing the ERB's career planning and job matching services for service recipients. In addition, the ERB will map out other medium to long-term measures, such as how it could gauge and anticipate future skill requirements, how to reposition itself and build a new branding, how its structure and staff be adjusted, and how the employees' retraining ordinance should be amended. The ERB will work out the details and timetable, with proposals expected by the end of next year. To support vocational training for local workers, the government will put up 2 vacant school premises for application by established and experienced trade unions for providing training courses for different industries, particularly construction industry. Implement full portability of the Mandatory Provident Fund. The Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority will work out the details for implementing the full portability proposal, under which employees will be able to, making use of the eMPF platform launched in June, transfer the accrued benefits derived from their employer's mandatory contributions to a scheme at their choice. This will help encourage the employees to proactively manage their MPF investments, promote market competition, and create room for fee reductions. Enhance the protection of wages on the insolvency fund and protect employees. The government will take forward various measures to enhance employee protection, including 1. Abolishing the arrangement of using the accrued benefits of employees' mandatory contributions under the MPF system to offset severance payments and long service payments on the 1st of May next year. The government will launch a 25-year subsidy scheme exceeding $33 billion to share out employers' expenses upon the abolition of the offsetting arrangements. 2. Reviewing the coverage of ex gratia severance payments under the Protection of Wages on Insolvency Fund, exploring an increase in the ceiling of ex gratia payments to enhance employee protection. 3. Implementing the new annual review mechanism of the statutory minimum wage. And 4. Amending the continuous contract requirement under the Employment Ordinance by relaxing the threshold from working 18 hours in a week for 4 consecutive weeks, that is 72 hours in total, to an aggregate of 68 hours in 4 weeks, making it easier for employees to enjoy comprehensive employment rights. Encourage employment among middle-aged and elderly persons. The 3-year re-employment allowance pilot scheme was launched in July with more than 20,000 participants to date. The Labour Department will continue the scheme and, through the Good Employer Charter 2024, encourage employers to adopt family-friendly employment practices, such as flexible work arrangements. Promote occupational safety and health. The government has been encouraging the industry to provide a safer working environment. Among other things, it mandated in July the adoption of the Smart Site Safety System, or the 4S, for mobile plants in designated private building works, and issued the first batch of 4S labeling. We will strengthen the protection of workers' safety under a 3-pronged approach, formulating safety guidelines, promoting optimal use of robotic technology, and enhancing training. Promote a green and low-carbon lifestyle. Continue to promote waste reduction and recycling. The government will continue to promote waste reduction and recycling. Initiatives include reinforcing publicity and education on waste reduction and recycling in the community and schools, expanding the community recycling network by increasing public collection points from about 500 at present to 800. Optimizing service hours of the green and community recycling facilities to provide better service, setting up self-service recycling stores or smart recycling facilities in PRH estates, doubling the number of residential food waste collection facilities across the city, as well as reviewing the tender arrangements and requirements for green at community facilities to enhance cost effectiveness and improve service quality. iPark 1, the first waste-to-energy facility for treating municipal solid waste, is expected to begin operation next year. We will also take forward the construction of iPark 2, working towards the goal of zero landfill. The government will continue to assess public views on and participation in waste reduction and report to the LegCo by mid-2025. The government will establish a common legislative framework for the producer responsibility schemes applicable to different products, facilitating the future inclusion of such products as plastic beverage containers and beverage cartons progressively, expanding our waste-to-resources capacities. Speed up green transformation of manufacturing production. The government has been supporting local development of green technology through the Green Tech Fund and the Innovation and Technology Fund, transforming R&D projects with application potential into commercially valuable technologies or products and facilitating their production locally. The Environment and Ecology Bureau, or the EEB, is assisting 2 local companies in setting up production lines to upcycle local waste materials into high-value products, namely core materials for electricity-free cooling products and acoustic metamaterial products, promoting development of Hong Kong's green industry. The EEB has extended the usable area and lease terms of about 20 short-term tenancy sites currently designated for recycling operation in Hong Kong, giving the recycling industry more room for further development and upgrading. The government will inject $100 million for a new round of the Cleaner Production Partnerships Program to expedite green transformation, renovation and the upgrading of local factories and Hong Kong-owned factories in the Guangdong province, bringing Hong Kong closer to its carbon neutrality targets. Continue to promote ecological conservation. The government will continue to enhance facilities of country parks, integrating cultural characteristics of villages to provide better ecotourism experience for the public and visitors. It will also continue to develop the Sampo Shu Wetland Conservation Park, expand the charging network for electric vehicles. The government has stepped up efforts to promote green transport through the EV charging at home subsidy scheme and the gross floor area concession arrangement. About 200,000 EV charging parking spaces are expected to be available by mid-2027. The government will earmark $300 million for a new scheme, providing subsidies to the private sector for installing quick charging facilities. The target is to have a total of 3,000 quick chargers installed by 2030. The government granted 2 vacant petrol filling station sites for conversion into quick charging stations earlier this year. It plans to invite expressions of interest from the industry next year to repurpose existing petrol filling station sites as charging stations, with top-site developments for other purposes under the single-site multiple-use model. Closing remarks. Since taking up office, I have pushed ahead with many reform measures to transform government culture, strengthen the systems, and improved various regimes. Our goal is to keep Hong Kong going and make it a city in which people live in better homes, enjoy better education, and cherish their lives. We strive for this goal. I always take time to reflect and listen to views of others to ensure that our policies are working and our measures are effective. I take a close look into the daily needs of our people while staying abreast from a global perspective of the world trend, our nation's strategic outlook, and the societal interest. While keeping our principles and being innovative when taking forward reforms, we have to look at the flip side that a measure may bring other than its benefits. Reform is essential, but we should always be mindful that it is a means and not an end, that it should never undermine success factors that are well established and work effectively. Having regard to various objective facts, I do believe that our overall policy directions are on the right course. Over the past 2 years or so, median monthly household income has risen by about $2,800, up over 10%, while over 100,000 jobs have been added. The waiting time for public housing has been shortened by 6 months, and the first batch of LPH will soon be completed for intake, filling the gap in the supply of public housing. District governance and care team services are firmly in place in all 18 districts across the territory. Outcomes of our efforts to troll for talents and enterprises are also well recognized. Thanks to the concerted efforts of all concerned, Hong Kong's status as an international financial center has climbed up one place to restore the global third position, putting an end to the negative narratives of our city's future. We moved up 2 places to rank 5th in world competitiveness and rose 7 places in talent competitiveness to stand among the world's top 10 once again. Hong Kong also retains the top spots in global ranking in investment environment, international trade, business legislation, and air cargo throughput, etc. That said, past performance is no guarantee of future success. We must not be complacent, but keep up our momentum for advancement and reforms. We must remain confident in ourselves and uphold our morale, standing firm against any efforts to downplay our success story. This policy address deepens the reforms that I have introduced since I became chief executive. It presents enhanced measures to boost the economy and improve people's livelihood. It seeks to address the prevailing needs of our people while mapping our vision and long-term goals for building a brighter future for Hong Kong. Amid the accelerating global changes not seen in a century and complex geopolitics, the uncertainties surrounding the Sino-United States relations have exposed Hong Kong to frontline external political forces. But while we are facing many challenges, they are outweighed by the opportunities available to us. Global economic gravity continues to shift eastward, and investment is also shifting the same direction to balance geopolitical risks. Hong Kong boasts a secure and stable investment environment, enjoys a favorable location at the heart of Asia, and is the only city in the world where China's advantages and international advantages converge. Blessed with our linkage with our motherland and close connection to the world, as well as the solid backing of our country, including the central government support and measures benefiting our city, Hong Kong stands to prosper. We must seize every opportunity to make progress and renew ourselves. Indeed, with the wisdom and experiences of Hong Kong people, coupled with the dare to fight and win spirit in us, I am confident that Hong Kong will continue to go from strength to strength and attain new heights. Through our united efforts to reform and innovate, our economy will go even stronger and our people will lead a better life, making Hong Kong a shining city. Thank you, President. Thank you, members. The Chief Executive has delivered the policy address to the Council and now leaves the chamber. Members, please stand up.